Hey, everybody. Jeff is still laughing because we had a false start. I was getting ready to do my intro, and I realized I didn't hit go live. So here we are, Paul and Jeff, Fontaine and Hawk, here on the Dynamite Show on the Fight Game Media Network and on the free audio feed, as well as the Fight Game Media YouTube channel and on X. I think we're on my X, Garrett's X, the Fight Game Media X. So thanks to everyone that's watching and listening. And before we get going with the show, and before we get into Dynamite, we're going to talk a little bit about what everyone's been talking about lately, and that's one TTS. But
that what everybody's been talking about? Okay.
Yeah, tits. But Jeff, why don't you give the people an update? Because when we last heard from you, you were going in for an operation.
Hey, I'm here, kids.
Hey,
another PSA for all of you. Number one, get your yearly physical, because that's how they found this in the first place. Number two, if you smoke, quit. I do not smoke, but this is a disease that 90% of the people who get it are smokers. Yeah, but they only scraped this time, no chemotherapy. They say it went well. I go in for my follow-up on Friday to see what further action we'll take. Played a little TMI here. Played a game of Why Is This Bleeding right now, 6 days after the operation today. So that gave me a bit of a scare, but it was dark and it was clotted blood that it had already that was there that just needed to be passed. But sometimes this happens where it's like you go a few days and it's like, yeah, I think I'm okay, and then all of a sudden, oh, that's not good. But so far so good.
If you don't play with it as much, it won't bleed.
Yeah, if you use it or lose it, Paul. Yeah. That's what they say.
Fair enough.
I should have lost it years ago. Yeah, but no, I'm okay. Thank you all for your well wishes and whatnot. And now for Dynamite.
Yeah, well, and I'll just say I also have a procedure coming up. You're talking to a couple old men here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got what's it called? A gastrostomy. They're gonna stick a camera down my throat.
Oh, you get
take a picture of my stomach. Yeah, I think it's my stomach or my liver. I'm not sure which. I had it done like 20 years ago, and it's because of an ongoing condition I've had for a long time. So they just have to monitor it. So it's not super serious or anything. There's always a chance I could bleed to death, but they give me blood work ahead of time to prevent that from happening. So if everything goes well,
I'll tell you a story after we're off the air.
Okay. All right. But yeah, so if I'm not here next Wednesday, that's probably why. But because the procedure,
Kevin Ely will be hosting. We'll be fine. We'll be good.
No, but I'm sure I'll be fine. They told me they're gonna put me under sedation. I can't drive for 24 hours. But other than that, it's good. But yeah, so we'll talk about Dynamite in a few minutes. But we wanted to start the show off by talking about something that happened on Collision. Now, did you see Collision?
No.
But okay, but you probably saw the stuff on social, right?
Like yes, Tony, I did.
Okay, so you saw the reveal.
I watched the 4-way on Collision. That's
okay. Did you see the full reveal, or did you just see like the 1-minute clipped version?
I saw the full. I saw.
Okay. So if anybody that didn't see it, and they did show a truncated version of it tonight on Dynamite. We started out. It was a face-to-face with Toni Storm and Mariah May, and Tony's playing the rookie and. Oh, it's so wonderful to meet you finally, and I wanted you to mentor me, and I think I can learn a lot from you. I've been watching you for years, blah 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 blah. And Mariah just picks her up, and at first I thought, well, maybe they're going to do this, and they're going to pretend like she's mentoring her or something, like Mariah's just going to be a stupid heel. But no, she's not a stupid heel. She not buying any of this. She slaps her out, whips her with the belt, leaves her for dead, and walks up the ramp. And as she's walking away, Toni Storm is talking, and slowly her voice is changing, and she's starting to talk with that stupid accent, and she transforms into timeless Toni Storm, and she says, "The hardest role that you can ever play is that of yourself," which is not true at all. And then she starts taking off her clothes, which apparently is some deep psychological thing because she was forced to take off her clothes in WWE, but here it was she was doing it on her own.
Question for you. Oh, you just went mute, Paul. You just hit me mute.
I know. Question, what?
The beating. Was that what triggered her going back into timeless Toni Storm?
Well, no, because she said it was a plan and it was a ruse all along.
Gotcha. Okay.
But the thing is, if you recall, and if you watch Dynamite, and if you pay attention like they tell you should, I believe it was 3 or 4 weeks ago when Tony won the gauntlet match to get the title shot at Mariah. Mariah May was on commentary, and she was laughing at the fact that Tony won. She was saying she's not a rookie. I beat her in London, and she took off, ran away. She came back. Nobody's buying this. She was not scared of Tony Storm at all.
Yes.
She never and even here, I think the idea was, and someone brought up a great analogy. It was supposed to be like when you remember in, I think it was like 96, maybe 97 in WWE when Triple H was feuding with Mick Foley.
With Mick Foley, okay.
And then he transformed into Cactus Jack and challenged him to a match at, I think it was like Hammerstein or something. And it was going to be like a hardcore match.
Right.
And Triple H sold it like,
oh my God, I can't believe it. Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, like he was deathly afraid. And it worked because of that, because of how Triple H sold it and because he had that cred. Now, if it's me booking, and, far be it from me to be an armchair booker, but that's what we do all the time here. I might have had Tony Storm not come back as a rookie and maybe just come back maybe after Mariah had defended her title and she was doing one of her promos, bragging about how she's the best in the division, blah, blah, blah. Tony comes out in the same outfit she was in Wembley. She's disheveled. She's still covered in blood. She is insane. And she attacks Mariah, and Mariah acts like she's seen a ghost and she's scared. She thought this one was dead. Here she is coming back. And she has some sort of an evolution into a character that is not quite Tony Storm, timeless Tony Storm, but it is like a deranged version of that.
Yes.
And that's someone that Mariah actually has to be afraid of. Here, she's no reason to be
if she had
afraid.
become what we thought the angle was going to be, which was we thought she was going to become, was it Betty Davis and whatever happened to Baby Jane?
Yes. Yeah.
Then that would have been an evolution. And that's what you want characters to do. Even in professional wrestling, you want characters to evolve. And what we did was we went back to square one. And it's one of those things where, like WWE does this crap all the time, where you can't grow up. You have to wrestle the gimmick you were known for, even if it's 20 years past your prime. Like the Hardys come in and they always have to be, 23-year-old and wearing mesh and whatnot.
Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yes, the Dudleys. Yes. You aren't allowed to expand your character because this is the nostalgia kick. This is why we're doing it, except we're doing it with a actual modern wrestler.
70-year-old Hacksaw was out there.
Oh yes. Play the hits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was nonplussed by this, but I did like Mariah's promo tonight. The problem, but the problem is, yes, Tony Storm won a gauntlet match doing neck snaps or whatever the heck it was, just over headlock takeovers. That's what they are. Headlock takeovers over and over and over again.
Well, that's the other thing. She was coming in as this quote unquote rookie, and she's winning all her matches. I think she lost one along the way somewhere. She lost a triple threat with Willow and Chris Statlander or something.
This is one of those bad scenes where the cops plan a heist and the villain's 3 steps ahead of them and go, "Oh, okay," and then they kill all the cops and they walk away.
Yeah. It was like, "Oh yeah, here's my plan." And the thing is, I think where they'll end up going is where you said it would go, where she will be that evil Betty Davis kind of character, and we may even see that on Saturday.
I think they're going right back to her playing timeless Tony Storm. I think she's going to probably win this title.
I mean, she has to, because it's
going to be more of the same Davis Code era jokes and things like that. They're going back to the well, is what they're doing.
But Mariah
eventually they might figure something out.
Because that card, if you look at what that card probably will be, I mean, it's Ospreay and Omega against Fletcher and Takeshita. I mean, obviously Ospreay and Omega got to win that. I assume we're going to get Buddy Matthews and Brody King against the Hurt Syndicate. They're losing. Jay White and John Moxley. Jay White's losing. So we got to have somebody from Australia win. So that's got to be Tony Storm, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And for those that missed it, it was revealed today that Grand Slam is going to be, it's just Collision. Like, I mean, it's a loaded Collision, and it's, like, it's Grand Slam Dynamite, it's Grand Slam Collision, like, the Grand Slam Dynamite is one of the biggest Dynamites of the year. So this is going to be one of the biggest Collisions of the year. But I mean, biggest Collision of the year is like,
I'm a guy and
the biggest midget. Okay, go ahead.
I said, I'm a guy and I'm an old head, and I'm, but I found the whole striptease thing degrading, to be honest with you.
Well,
I didn't like it at all.
It didn't. I mean, I didn't really care. That's all I'll say.
I didn't care, but I also was like, all right, this isn't what I wanted Toni Storm to be because I talked to the writer who was behind her stuff in SmackDown, and having to hear the stories about how Vince just wanted to, sex it up and everything like that, as opposed to what he wanted to do. And I'm watching this and I'm going, okay, well, how things change. How are you better off doing this then?
Well, what I'll say to that is, number one, it was the ownership. It was the character doing it. It wasn't Tony Khan telling her to do it.
Right.
Number two, it was done in a very, and I'm not saying anything about Toni Storm. She's a very attractive woman. It was done in an unsexy way.
Okay.
It wasn't designed to be tittillating. It was designed to be her
shedding her skin, metaphorically
bearing her soul, so it wasn't designed to be, hey, look at my body.
No, I get that. I understood the point. I personally, I mean, I wasn't reading subtext. It's just how I read.
Yeah. Well, I didn't either. And it wasn't until someone pointed it out. And then a woman in our Discord also chimed in, and, and she made some good points. So I will, and I'll defer to that, because, quite honestly, who am I, to talk about that? So, but so they, and thank God, because only 250,000 people watch Collision. I thought, what they may not show, and they showed a full video package of it tonight. They talked about it at the beginning of the show. They mentioned it again later. Then during this, right before the segment, they showed a video package. Showed a lot of video packages tonight. This show tonight, like, I feel like, like sometimes we have like a 3-hour show that they got to cram into 2 hours, and they got so much stuff they got to fit in. This felt more like
they had a half hour and they had to expand it. That's what this felt like.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
A few things here.
Maybe 80 minutes.
Let's talk a little business, so to speak.
Okay.
NXT got 849,000.
A little less than that, but something like that. 820 something. But they didn't do very well in the demo.
Who cares?
The advertisers, the network.
Oh yeah. No, look,
Dave Meltzer.
The people who talk demos are the people who are talking Pyrrhic victories.
Although they probably will beat Dynamite in the demo.
I think so. This was scripted. Interesting, because remember the mistake last week was we put the hottest segment on first, and then we continued again. This was, let me do the same thing again, book the hottest segment that we're gonna probably have first, and see if I can book a different main event, and see if one of my big money free agents can bring it back to the level, because I love me some Mercedes Moné. I do. I think she's phenomenal. I also think she has to be thinking to herself, the 2,500 person arenas, F this.
Well, and I will say it's not a 20. There were actually 2,134 there, and it wasn't a 2,500 building, because last year they did 3,400 in the same building. So this
but this felt like trying to prove a point of some kind.
And the thing is, if your idea of a hot opening was Brian Cage beating on Will Ospreay for a while, and then eating some moves and losing, and then a heel beatdown, if that's your hot angle.
But that wasn't his thought. His thought was Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, my two biggest stars right now. I'm putting them up front. People are going to be happy to see them.
Oh, without I told them
about that match.
Except I told them that Kenny Omega was laid out in the back.
Yes.
We'll talk about it.
Let's go. Let's do this. I'm ready.
I just want to say something though before we start, And I'll skip to the end because I saw something on this that I'm not sure I've seen in AEW before. But I used to see it in WWE all the time.
Okay.
And I used to see it in WCW all the time.
Right.
And what it was when the main event ended and Mercedes was in the ring and she was holding up her belt and she was doing her little dance, they cut into the crowd and everyone was looking at the tunnels because they were waiting to see who was going to come out and attack Mercedes or who was going to attack her. Because if you were counting, and I was, prior to the main event, we had 4 matches. And in those 4 matches, we didn't have 2 post-match beatdowns. We didn't have 3 post-match beatdowns. We didn't have 4. No. 6 post-match beatdowns in 4 matches. We'll get to it.
6.
Yeah.
And the thing was, these matches were way too long. All of them.
Yeah.
I said boring halfway through all of them.
And so did the crowd. I mean, they didn't chant it, thank God, but I mean, they were quiet.
This crowd was watching wrestling. That's what they were doing.
There was one point in the Ricochet AR Fox match where they're wrestling, and it's fine. The moves are good and everything, whatever. It's nobody could possibly care about this match. And they're just dead. They're just dead. And then all of a sudden, I think there was like a false finish that the crowd didn't react to. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of people chanted, and there are a number of times, and I'll point it out when I'm reviewing, where it's like, 9 people chanting and stuff. Like a ton of people, like half the crowd starts chanting randomly, "This is awesome." And I'm like, what?
They're playing the part. They're playing
somebody
the part. We are AEW fans and we want AEW to succeed, so we're going to chant that this is awesome if this match keeps going.
Once all night when it wasn't. Like there were times when they could have chanted that and they didn't. And it's just this random point. I think so. Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. Actually, you know what? The main event I thought it was pretty good, but
I liked the main event a lot.
Nobody cared.
But nobody cared.
No. So yeah, the last time they were in Huntsville in the same building was February 28th, 2024. So 11 months ago. And they did 3,413 for a Dynamite. And this year they did 2,134.
Maybe they should change the first letter.
And if you recall, I'm pretty sure this was the show. I think this might have been Will Ospreay's debut after signing, or it was one of his first few weeks. And he came out and he got just this massive reaction. And the talking point was, wow, he's this over in Huntsville? Like he's going to be over everywhere. He's the biggest star they have. They got to belt him at Wembley, blah, 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 blah. A year later, he opens the show and his music got a decent pop. It wasn't, overwhelming or anything. And they did not react like you normally hear people reacting for a Will Ospreay match. So the match starts and Don Callis gets on the mic and he says, tells Will to look at the screen, and they show Kenny Omega laid out in the back, and nobody knows who did it.
After a few seconds, yes, they did.
Well, yeah, because they're saying like nobody knows who did it.
No, they're saying look at the screen, and still AEW Dynamite. It's like, why am I going to look at this screen? Right
yeah. So then, like Fletcher and Takeshita weren't out there, and Archer was. So clearly, that was them. It was Takeshita and Fletcher that laid him out backstage. Then Excalibur mentions, okay, there's 5 of you, but there's a 6th coming. And and Callis says, what are you talking about? There's rumors, blah, blah, blah. That's all they mentioned to this. Now, if you didn't see Collision, and most people that watched Dynamite did not, there was a video that aired.
Yes.
And it was awesome. And they basically told you there's going to be a 6th member of the Callis family. Mm-hmm. But they didn't replay it here. They didn't say why they thought there was a 6th member. Excalibur just mentioned it as if everyone listening /
as if everybody knew, because everybody was following on social media or they watched.
Yeah, so there's going to be a 6th. I saw, maybe people think it's going to be Kota Ibushi. I think maybe it might be Big Bill. Maybe he's going to, Jericho's going to sell him the contract, or he's going to leave or something.
I had a tweet about this because there's a lot. I mean, they could bring back Trent. That
Yeah,
could be
well, I saw people. I think that would be a big fart.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fart. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be Jack Perry, which would be
That
at
would be
least a little
interesting.
bit
Oh,
interesting.
Okada was the one I thought of too.
But it might just be another fart level guy like New Japan, like Chase Owens coming in or something.
Yeah,
like
or
that.
like freaking, some random powerhouse they
Jeff
haven't used in a
Cobb
while.
comes in.
Yeah. But I like Okada just because like he's got the thing with Omega. He's another Japanese wrestler. He's another guy that used to be the best in the world.
And that's how we turned Takeshita babyface.
No. Well, eventually. But yeah. But anyways, they have this match.
They should get a woman in the Callis family. That'd make it more interesting to me.
Yeah, that they could do that. And there's lots of candidates. Megan Bain. So they have this match, and Brian Cage. It was similar to the Kenny Omega match where he wasn't really doing all his high spots. He was working over what?
I said no. Continue.
You don't agree?
He wasn't doing all his high spots.
Yeah. He was just working over Ospreay, and then Ospreay was hitting him with moves.
Match. Hooray.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it wasn't really a Brian Cage match because usually what Brian Cage does with small guys is he tries to match them move for move.
Yes.
And now he's not doing that, and the matches are boring. So I don't know if he can win.
This match didn't need a finish. Just have the Murder Hawk Monster go in for a DQ, and then the beatdown can happen.
Yeah, but they had to, so cut to the end. Ospreay wins with a style clash, gets the win, and immediately he gets attacked by Lance Archer. Like immediately. I don't even think the bell rang. And crowd starts chanting Kenny, but it's funny because they chanted it for like 2 seconds, and then I think they remembered that he's out.
We took him out right before the match.
And Excalibur mentions it. Excalibur mentions he's out. He can't make the save. Next thing that happens, his music hits and he makes the save.
He runs down full speed.
Yeah, full speed with a chair.
With a chair where Brian Cage just watches and he hits Lance Archer.
He throws the chair at Lance Archer, hits him in the head, knocks him down, and then they're beating on Cage. And then out come Takeshita and Fletcher, and they lay them down. I only call this one beatdown, but you could almost say it was two.
You got it wrong. He threw the chair at Cage's head after he did the wind up and hit Archer in the back. But during that time, he was like winding up and hitting Archer in the back when he was attacking Will. Cage is just standing there waiting for his turn. I'm like, what are you doing? Hit him!
Yeah. Oh, it was not good. So fans are chanting "fuck Don Callis," and so they're standing over the dead bodies of Omega and Ospreay, and Omega, desperately babyface, tries to get at Don Callis's leg, and Callis jumps back, and then they start the beatdown again, and they lay them out again, and then they're about to leave, and then Omega does another feint comeback on one of them, and they beat them down again, and then they just left, and the whole time I'm thinking, okay. Do they not have any friends? Is there no security in this place? Like we've seen security break up beatdowns before.
All right, hold on.
Referees.
The emotional resonance of this thing was that Kenny was fighting through after getting beat down, but he has no bandages on him.
Nope.
He's running full speed. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, my head. I remember I was just attacked earlier. I'm going to grasp lightly at your leg, Don Callis. No, there needs to be some second level thinking on this where how about we have Kenny bandaged up, bravely trying to make his way to the ring with a chair to save Will Ospreay, because that would then pay off the Will Ospreay climbing over Omega's body and going,
I mentioned that when it finally ended, he did the climbing over his body and covering him like Eddie Kingston with John Moxley. And then you just the heels just out of the goodness of their heart decide to stop beating on them because nobody stopped them. There was no reason for them to quit.
I'm schwitzing a bit.
Time
to go powder.
Oh my God, it was unreal.
Was lame. It was absolutely lame compared to last week.
And the crowd was not like we did get that one "fuck you, Callister," but this is just like chanting that. It wasn't like any actual emotion.
Like
that
it's
they
a
were.
horseman beatdown without a point, though. I mean, they did
Yeah.
a couple pile drivers, but why are you stopping at one pile driver?
I was expecting at some point here
Pillman and neck.
that somebody was going to come in to make the save, but they were going to churn on Kenny, and that was going to be the
person,
member.
and they were going to do the reveal after like 3 days of build.
Yeah. So thank God they didn't do that.
I half expected Kenny to hit Will with a chair.
You know, it could also be Mark Davis. Like that would be so bad, but
jeez.
So they announced after this that Mercedes and Yuka is the main event. So they actually told us ahead of time because I wasn't even sure what it was going to be. Honestly, I thought it might be Ospreay. I thought it might be the Jarrett match. I was pretty sure it would probably be the Mercedes match. But
let me circle back here real quick because this is something that AEW does poorly that I want them to do better. I want them to have the emotional build at the beginning so that the emotional payoff at the end that they want pays off. And all you have to do is have Kenny sell the beating. Sell the damn beating. You got beat up. The guy on commentary is saying that you got beat up.
Why did they even do the beatdown? Why? Like, I don't understand why they did it.
To give you the impression that there was nobody coming to save Will Ospreay.
But someone did, like right away.
Yeah, it was the guy who got beat down.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like, oh my God. Yeah, like, and I guess they have no friends. There's no security. There's no officials. Like the referees will often break down a beatdown. Nope, nothing.
Sure, throw private party in there to get their asses beat.
Something, anything. I don't know. Mark Davis, where the hell is he?
Who cares?
Yeah. So Remarkable Renee was waiting outside Swerve's locker room to get a word with him, and Hangman walks right past her. Opens the door, comes back out and said he's not in there. Brushes past Renee. Renee yells at him, says, "What are you doing?" He says, "None of your business." She says, "Can you talk to me about Christopher Daniels?" He says, "No, I don't think I can." And he turns his back on her, bumps into MJF, who's just wandering around. And then she talks to MJF and he says, no matter what Hangman does, he can do nothing wrong. But if I breathe funny, everyone blames me. She asked him about Jeff Jarrett, and he's like not paying attention. He goes, "Sorry, love, ADD." And he says, "I'm not going to let anyone ruin my mood, Renee. My words are prophecy. You heard me last week. Well, tonight, Jeff Jarrett, you're going to learn the hard way. You'll go out there alone and face half man, half horse, Claudio Castagnoli. And because you refused my offer, you're going to get beat. But I got a new offer for you, Jeff, one you can't decline. Last outlaws, last ride. Ain't I great?" I have no idea what the point of this was. Like, none.
It's to get him back in this after last week. Sean Ross Sapp saying that they were done with it.
But he did another promo after the Jarrett match. Like,
yeah.
And they advertised at the beginning of the show, we'll hear from MJF. And I thought, oh, is that this? Well, no, like we heard.
I guess we've just agreed that MJF's going to retire Jeff Jarrett. I think that's what's happened.
Well, I guess. Or they're going to do another match where it's for a title shot and Jarrett's going to beat him.
Yeah, with the guitar, because they did the unnecessary guitar shot.
Yeah. So they do. They did a video package showing the Hobbs and Big Bill, not match but brawl from Saturday night on Collision, and he does a promo. He says, "I told you we're going to hell, and when I'm cleared to come back," so he's out again. "I'll show you that hell is just the beginning." So I don't know if he's really injured. He might be. Like if he is, like man, that guy's got bad luck.
Who is this?
Hobbs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a short
that's
promo.
Right. Yeah,
like
no, okay.
seconds.
No, I liked this, but
it was good.
But I found it unusual. I was like, well, I was thinking hopefully it was weather related, but as opposed to injury related. But we'll see.
Well, he was limping on Saturday, so.
Oh man, he had knee surgery, right?
Yeah.
Well, those things are easily re-injured.
I mean, I hope not, but. Hey, you know who I saw today?
Who?
Ricky Starks. Not like in real life, but
okay.
I watched a Ricky Starks.
I saw that intro too, where they were all chanting for him to go to NXT.
Yeah. So it was him and Mike Santana at the House of Glory show it's on Triller Plus. I can't remember the date, but he had a good match. But there was one spot in the match where Santana hit him with something and dropped him right on his head. And then he does the 3 count. Ref goes 1, 2, dropping his hand for 3. Starks is not moving. The ref grabs Stark's hand and pulls his shoulder up. And like himself. So I don't know if Starks was knocked out again or if they were just playing off what happened on Dynamite or Collision the last time he wrestled. But he finished the match and it was a fine match. He did a promo afterwards and didn't really say anything. But it was nice to see Ricky Starks, I will say. Yeah, he looked good. He looks like maybe put on a little bit of weight. And, still wrestles really, really well. It was a really good match. Santana's great. So anyways, I will say that I enjoyed that match better than anything on this show. And it wasn't even close. So the
you're pulling a Dave, you know that, right?
I know.
Okay.
I shouldn't watch House of Glory before I watch AEW.
I watched Akira Hokuto versus Meiko Satomura before this show. So
nice. Was that relatively new or?
No. This is from 2001, I think.
Oh yeah. Satomura's been around forever. Next up, we got Claudio Castagnoli and Jeff Jarrett. So it was not the main event. Tony
This was
Schiavone,
a Claudio Castagnoli match.
Now, okay, I do. You know what I do? I fast forward through the entrances
until you get to the commercial. Yes.
No. Not when I'm covering a show. I do that sometimes on the 3-hour Raws and SmackDowns. But when I do this, I just fast forward the entrances. So I didn't see Jeff Jarrett's entrance, but when they were getting ready to start the match, Tony Schiavone tells me, "We got a great reception here in Huntsville for Jeff Jarrett." Was he lying?
He was sort of fibbing, I think. I mean, it was an okay.
Because I didn't really. It didn't seem like they were very alive for this match. This match was boring as fuck.
It was so boring. I started looking up the origins of Claudio Castagnoli's jacket.
So there was
apparently a Warhammer reference, which I don't play.
There was a light Double J chant a couple minutes in. Wheeler Yuta came in through the crowd. He was trying to distract Jarrett. He starts arguing with the ref. I thought the ref was going to toss him right away, but they went to break. They come back. Wheeler's still out there.
House of torture match is what this was.
It was but it's freaking Jeff Jarrett. It's
your main event stable though. It's the Death Riders,
but it's Jeff Jarrett. So it'd be I want to say it'd be like the House of Torture against Tanahashi, but Tanahashi's 12 years younger than Jeff Jarrett, and he's a lot more credible right now. It'd be like if they were doing this with Masa Chono or something,
It's just fine.
So they did,
Jarrett, humanity.
Jarrett played all the hits in slow motion.
Yes.
They did a spot where, with the dueling uppercuts and there were these very, very light yay boo chants. Jarrett took out his leg, went for the figure four. That usually gets, just an instant pop. Didn't get nothing. Jeff hit an enziguri. Claudio did the giant swing. He only went around about 10 times because I think Jarrett's a lot heavier than the guys he usually does it to. He put on the sharpshooter. Jarrett reversed into one of his own. That got a bit of a pop. Wheeler threw a chair in the ring. Jarrett let Claudio go, took a swing at Wheeler. Claudio grabbed the chair, swung at Jeff, missed. Actually thought here he might get the win, but no. Moxley jumped in the ring, gave Jarrett a DDT while the ref is still arguing with Yuta 5 minutes later. Claudio hits a neutralizer. Then he looks at Mox, and Mox is like, give him another one. So he gives him another one, and he pins him. And Jeff barely took the second one. And he got the
no, that looked painful. He landed on his knees. He just didn't want to take it for some reason.
No, it was bad. And so the match is over. This is when I noticed Marino was still there. And Claudio hit him with one more neutralizer after the match. And then so they do the long pause. The Death Riders just left. But there was another post-match beatdown here.
Okay,
so
let me pause this because I want to say something again because it ties into my first point about the Kenny Omega stuff.
Okay.
And Jeff Jarrett should know better. And I like Jeff Jarrett overall. He's a breath of fresh air occasionally as kind of a comedy mid-card wrestler for me.
I hope you're going to ask the question I had.
Jeff Jarrett's story is that he's desperate to get a world title or to get a singles title of some kind, but he wants the world title. Mm-hmm. Why isn't he wrestling like it? Why isn't the savvy veteran pulling out all the stops? Even to the point where he might be a William Regal-esque trickster type that's actually a babyface who's doing the sneaky heel stuff just because he remembers going back to his bag of tricks as the last outlaw that he is. And it's one of these things where and he's just doing a straight up wrestling cromulent match. And you're just like, yeah.
Do you think Jeff Jarrett, the character, or Jeff Jarrett, the actual person, do you think he was surprised that the Death Riders showed up? Do you think this was entirely out of the realm of possibility that Jon Moxley and his Dick Riders were going to show up?
Did you just call them Dick Riders?
I did.
Oh, God.
Just kind of slid it in there.
You would think a guy of Jeff Jarrett who has been in Memphis with giant stables full of people.
Yes. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. Does Jeff Jarrett not have a stable of his own?
Yes.
Does he not have Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh and Karen Jarrett?
Yeah.
Where were they?
In the back. I'm gonna do this on my own.
I'll bet
I need to be a
Jay
stupid
might have been in
babyface
Elizabeth, New Jersey.
Yeah.
He may not even have been there. But yeah, like, why weren't his friends out there? Why didn't they come out at some point and try to neutralize the Dick Riders?
Nobody has friends in this company, as you noted.
Except for Jay White, who
Jay
actually
White doesn't even have friends.
Well, no, that's the funny thing is he's not even friends with these guys.
That was a professional relationship right there that was forged.
Not even that. Not even that. They just saved him because they wanted to get their hands on Mox. So yeah, so this was another beatdown.
Four horseman groups running around in AEW and no baby faces to try and rally to fight against.
But it was only Claudio that attacked Jeff after the match. Then they all left. And they did the long pause. So I thought they were going to do the thing where Jeff Jarrett gets to his feet and the crowd gives him the standing ovation or whatever.
They missed the cue. They
did. And then MJF's music hits. And yeah, actually they did, because I wrote down here actually that I wrote down they do the long pause after the match so Jeff Jarrett can get up after the Dick Riders left. We got small Double J chants, not as much as you'd want, and then MJF's music hits. And he comes out and he's smiling with a mic. And he says,
Jarrett
Jeff,
Jarrett should have probably faked taking his boots off.
Yeah.
It was taking so long.
Yeah. So he comes out, he says, Jeff, I just wanted to come out here and say, and then he just lays him out with a clothesline.
Yes.
And he says, Jeff, as you know,
with the ring. With the ring. It just looked like a clothesline.
Oh, yeah, because he showed the ring to the camera. Yeah.
Right.
I truly respect my elders, and that's precisely why I'm not going to say I told you so. Drop the mic on him and leaves him lying in the ring. So that was the third post-match beatdown in the first two matches.
Okay.
Excuse me. Then we go backstage to Renee. She's with Ricochet. She tells him that Swerve isn't around, so he's happy. And he's informed. Oh no, Renee tells him, I've been informed by Tony Khan. If he interferes, he has to forfeit the match next week. And Ricochet's real happy about this. And he says, good, because he's finally out of my business. And then she asks him, she says, you said you had some words you wanted to say. And then Ricochet's like, Renee, we're not going to do this right now. I'm not a hoodlum. You and I will do this in a formal setting this Saturday on Collision. The powers that be are bullying me by putting me in a match against AR Fox before one of the most important matches of my career. And he walks away and Renee's not impressed. So, yeah, he does that again. That leads to Ricochet and AR Fox. And apparently these guys have had a bunch of matches around the world in the 2010s. Yeah, you're really selling me on that. It
was a PWG staple. I think every time there was like a 6-man with him and
I was so bored by this.
And it's a Lucha. It must have been Lucha Underground week again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were both in Lucha Underground too. They collided midair on a crossbody spot. And I'll tell you, the first time I saw this, I want to say it was Brian Pillman and Johnny B. Bad did it on like a Clash of Champions.
That sounds familiar.
And when I saw it, I was just like blown away. And at the time I was actually DMing with Brian Pillman and I was on like AOL and I sent him, I said, this was
It might have been Jushin Liger. But Johnny B. Bad may sound right, but go ahead.
I think it was Johnny B. Bad, but then again, it may not have been the first time. I may have missed that Jushin Liger match. So anyways, the place just, everyone just went nuts because they'd never seen anything like this. These guys did this and zero reaction. And they both clumped to the ground. They're both dead. They're actually selling it really well. And then it was like shortly after that when I think like AR Fox hit a move and Ricochet kicked out. And then they just randomly started chanting, "This is awesome," for like 15 seconds.
All right, before you continue, I'll tell you why.
There's nothing else.
I'll tell you why they didn't react, because there are bigger guys doing this. That's much more impressive. Like
True.
Bray Wyatt before he passed away was doing this every match.
Yeah.
Against another big old hoss, and then that's impressive. Two little guys doing this to each other. It's like, okay.
Or like, what was it we saw on Saturday? It was like when was it? Oh, Braun Breaker speared Sheamus in midair. Like that one.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, no, that's impressive stuff.
Although these AEW fans, I'm sure they're not watching WWE.
No, of course not. That's an evil billionaire corporation.
Yeah. Ricochet got the win with
we're on week 2 of Tony Khan liking AR Fox again. That's great.
It'll be the last.
No, he won't get unless somebody gets snowed in and he can drive from Atlanta to get to the show.
There you go.
Again, this was a match halfway through. I go, why is this taking so damn long for Ricochet to finish this guy?
It just went on and on and on.
There's no heat in the work. Ricochet kind of did the one heel thing he did was he teased the dive on the outside and then said, no, we're not doing that, to get the boos.
Yeah.
But he's not changing up his offense really to be a little bit more vicious. So
he got actually some really good heat at the beginning of the match. And then after the match, it was, it was just when he just kind of settled into having a match. That's when they kind of got bored. So he gets the win, clean win. Then he went to get his scissors. And I guess Tony said, were they in his trunk?
Yeah, he wasn't watching his monitor.
Yeah. And then Swerve shows up, and actually it's fine. It was good. It was shot really well because we didn't see Swerve, but we could hear the chain. And then all of a sudden Ricochet's just getting pulled out of the ring. And then we see Swerve, and he's got this maniacal look on his face. And it was actually really good. Crowd was going nuts. And he's beating on him. Eventually, Ricochet got a hold of AR Fox and used him as a human shield. Then he's holding out the scissors to fend off Swerve. Swerve looks into the camera and he says, one more week. This was not even close.
A follow-up promo later in the show with Swerve, to be honest with you. It was that good. I want more of the heat. I like the heat. Bring the heat. That's all I ask.
Tune into Collision on Saturday. You'll get that.
Whoopie crap.
Don't watch the Royal Rumble. Tune into Collision.
Awesome. What are you talking
about? By leaps and bounds, this was the best thing on the show. Not even close. Nothing else was even close. In my opinion,
I like the Mariah May promo a lot.
Actually, the Mariah May promo was really good too. But I like this more.
Let's continue.
All right. We got highlights of something called AEW Close Up. That apparently it looks like it's like some sort of semi-shoot type interview show that they're doing on YouTube.
It's content for the YouTube channel so that people can go to the YouTube channel, like the RJ City show.
So I will say they showed a clip of this on Saturday. And this clip they showed on Saturday actually got me super intrigued. And I actually considered watching the thing on Tuesday that aired. And I decided,
let's pause there. For the people who did not watch Collision, why did this have you intrigued?
Because Moxley said in this promo, I'll paraphrase what he said. And keep in mind, he's saying this while his wife, Renee, who is an interviewer, is standing there. We've got Pac in the background with no shirt and no pants on. And we've got Claudio in a sweater and Marina holding the briefcase while Mox is talking. And he basically said, when I came here, Tony Khan sold me a bill of goods. He promised me that we were going to do wrestling differently. 5 years later, we're right back to where I left. And I'm not doing this. And so essentially that's his thing, is what he's saying. And they aired this.
Okay. Yeah. Not only that, from what I've read, everybody in the Death Riders now has a motive for being in the Death Riders.
That's such horseshit.
But you know who wouldn't know that?
Anybody?
The 95% of people who did not watch this YouTube video on the AEW channel. That Pac wants to destroy AEW.
I'll even go further than
Yuta wants to be loved or whatever the hell he's doing. That Claudio's just kind of a jerk or whatever. I mean, basically what we're doing now is we're trying to create a story after we've already been telling it for 3 months.
I'll summarize. Moxley's goal is to save AEW.
From what?
From sports entertainment.
Okay, cool.
Claudio's role, I believe, is to kick ass. Pac's is to destroy AEW. Wheeler's, as you said, is to be loved and to be accepted by his evil friends. And Marina's purpose is to protect Moxley. The tiny little woman, her job is to protect Jon Moxley.
The badass MMA fighter. Yes, but you see, Moxley and Pac's goals conflict.
Save it from people. Yes, they do. But the fact is that's all horseshit anyways, because that's not the story they're telling. That was somebody that watched it.
It's not the story they're telling. It's the story they're telling us, and that's the other. And
it's not the story they're telling us. It's what I'm telling you, Jeff.
No, just now. What I mean is they were saying that on the video.
This was the guy that tweeted is his interpretation of what he saw.
It's his interpretation? Okay, that's my fault then.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you. So what they said here was, now I will say, when I watched what they showed on Saturday, I was intrigued and I considered watching the YouTube show. Then I heard a summary of what was said on it, and I thought, no, I'm not wasting my time with this. So this is the clip they showed on Dynamite. Renee is interviewing Moxley. Well, I wrote down Renee is interviewing Moxley and Claudio, but Claudio never actually said anything. She asked him, "We haven't seen that title. Why are you holding it hostage?" Jon Moxley responds to his wife, I might add, "Why do they need to see it? You want to take a picture of it? What is this, a petting zoo? You don't know anything about it. You don't understand it. You don't understand what it means, what it's about to be a champion, to be a mountain. I'm the living definition of the mountain. Look at it. Look at it. Take a look right here." Points at himself. "This isn't something you win. It's not something you hold over your head. It lives in here. It's cultivated, grown, forged in the white hot fires of combat. I'm here trying to build 1,000 Jon Moxleys behind me." And then they cut it, and I'm like, okay, this is the same bullshit he's been saying for the last 3 months. I have no desire to see this video based on what they aired. What the hell are they doing? Like, and I can't believe they aired this. Like,
this is response to criticism that we've never heard what Jon Moxley's motivation is, which we say every week. And unfortunately, it's a terrible motivation because it's all about, again, corporate fealty. And it's like, all right, fine.
I seriously think the message is, this is how I understand it. Jon Moxley's problem is that he left WWE because he hated sports entertainment. He came to AEW because Tony Khan promised him, we're going to do wrestling differently. It's going to be about the fighting. It's going to be about the sports. It's not about the entertainment. 5 years later, it's exactly the same as the company he left, and he's pissed off. That's the Death Riders.
Yeah. The problem is the kind of wrestling he wants is,
it's not viable.
It's not fighting. But it's one of those things where it's like the wrestling that he's actually rebelling against should be the stuff we're watching now, which is just this heatless slog where there is no fighting involved, where it's just, we're doing moves and yay, this is awesome because it's lasted 8 minutes or whatever. It's a terrible ethos to have. I do like the concept of, why do you need to see the prop? I'm the champ.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm like, that's interesting. Let's follow that. And we don't.
And then the funny thing is you have people, and I think the commentators even said this on occasion, that are speculating maybe the belt's not even in the briefcase. Like, just stop making up your own stories.
That's the very definition of a MacGuffin.
Yes. Stop making up your own stories. Just watch the show and listen to what they tell you and what they don't tell you.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's one of those things where it's like, because Tony has that Ring of Honor ethos in him, and I'm just like, that's just the most dull ass crap I can think. We just want to see you the best and shake hands. Shut up.
So after watching this clip, do you want to see this video? Do you want to go to YouTube? Okay.
God, no.
Okay.
Because it's like, number one, because if Claudio has anything to say, I don't want to hear it. Because he's a terrible promo, and you don't believe anything he says. Pac is just walking around.
I think it's hilarious. I love it because, like, if I look like Pac, I would never wear clothes.
I wouldn't either. But he's just a little rage monkey walking all around the place. Oh, the king of the cruiserweights. Oh, every promo he does is so. It's I'm angry and I'm coming for you. It's this red background. Then he walks through the tunnel. and like has a 3.5-star match. And it's just like
I give 4.5.
I want to see Pac like break a dude's leg or something.
Yeah.
And there you go. Like pick the biggest dude. Like I want to see him be like Rorschach in Watchmen, where he's in the jail and goes, "Y'all are trapped with me." And he picks the biggest guy and he just breaks him down, makes him cry.
You know what he'd be doing if he was in WWE right now? He'd be wrestling. He'd be in that like Sheamus, Ludwig Kaiser, Braun Breaker vortex.
He'd be done.
Pretty much. Little bit higher maybe, because I think Triple H would appreciate his build. Speaking of clips for things that nobody on earth would want to see, we got a plug
this dark match
for a dark match on something called Shudder.
Yes.
I've never heard of in my life, but apparently it's going to air on there and in theaters. So you can go pay $25 to see this piece of shit, whatever the hell it was. This thing made Ready to Rumble look like an Oscar-winning movie. Like, I don't know what the hell this was, but it looked awful.
It looks like a movie about professional wrestling, which is always terrible. And
it looks like it was shot in a.
And the only other guy, the only other actor I recognize in there is the dude who plays Trevor from Grand Theft Auto 5 is in there. He was on a couple episodes of Breaking Bad too.
Okay, I'd probably recognize him.
Better Call Saul. Never mind. He was.
Well, I've seen that too. So. I mean, there were some wrestlers in it, I think.
Is Joey Ryan in it? The thespian wrestler?
Probably.
He shows up on a TV show occasionally. I just see him. I can't believe he's working. It's like.
Then somebody reports him to the authorities, and he disappears and comes back under a new name. Yeah,
pretty much.
But he will never shave that mustache. If he actually shaved the mustache, maybe people wouldn't recognize him. So yeah, this was awful. And then
live fact checks of things I say. Shut up.
Shudder is a hella cool horror streaming service. Okay,
that is totally
Mel is a horror music.
Mel's jam, and you have insulted her, and you owe her an apology.
I apologize, Mel. I'm just not a horror guy. Although I did watch a movie that Disney Plus classified as horror this week, and it was actually really good. It's one of the best movies I've seen all year. It was called Night Bitch. Starred Amy Adams.
That was on Disney?
Disney Plus. It was excellent. I highly recommend this movie.
No, I've heard of the movie, but I'm shocked that Disney would. Well, then again, they do have like Deadpool movies.
Oh, they're like the Pam and Tommy documentary and stuff. So, or the not documentary, but miniseries.
Gotcha. Not Hulu, but actual Disney Plus, huh?
Disney Plus, yeah. But yeah, I'd recommend that movie. It's actually really good.
Can't put Song of the South on there, but we put Night Bitch. Okay.
But it's not a horror, by the way.
Yeah.
It's classified as a horror, but it's definitely not a horror. All right. New York Minute. Hi, guys. Live here from Huntsville, home of the Crimson Toad. And Brian Cage says, "Roll Toad."
Brian Keith might have been the best thing about the show with his next joke, but continue.
Yeah. He says, "My new movie premieres in theaters on Friday and on Shudder. It's violent and fun, just like The Learning Tree." And on Collision, Big Bill took out Will Hobbs. And then he asked Bill for a word, and he says, "What you said to me last week struck a chord. It's one thing to show the teachings of the Learning Tree to the world, but now I understand your words like I never did before. I feel stronger." And then Chris says, "When I hear you say that, it makes me proud. Proud of me for being a great mentor. But I told you to take out Hobbs permanently, so you're going to have to work harder next time." So this Saturday on Collision, Big Bill and I are going to take on the Heathens, the Outrunners, which is interesting because later on when they showed a graphic, it wasn't Big Bill and him, it was Brian Keith and him. But anyway,
right.
He says, "You guys say you're the youngest men alive and you've been around since the 80s. Well, I've never seen you on TV on anything besides AEW." And then Brian Keith, in the moment of his career,
this is
shouts out, "Mandela effect."
I howled. I did. I don't usually laugh that loud at a wrestling show, but that thing was funny.
Was good. And then Jericho says he was taken aback by the comment too. He had to pause and gather himself. And he says, "The youngest men alive will be taught a lesson by the smartest men alive." And then he looks at Bill and he says, "I expect you to make me proud. For real this time." And then he does the long stare into the camera again, and then does an angry look. And then Taz ruins the bit by saying, or no, I think it was Excalibur says it's not, they call it the New York Minute. No, it's Taz. They call it the New York Minute, but it's not New York. And then
Excalibur, no, they said it's not a minute. Yeah.
No, he first said it's not New York, and then he said it's also not a minute. Yeah.
Do they know what New York Minute means?
I don't think so. That's from the song, right?
Well, no, but the song is reference to something that's very that's well known. New York Minute's very quick.
Okay, gotcha.
Like that turned on you like a New York Minute.
Gotcha. Yeah, in a New York Minute. I always think of this song.
It's one of the worst Don Henley songs you can think of, and you're putting that on this, that evil in my head.
Is. I don't disagree with you. I'm a end of the innocence guy. Or dirty laundry.
Dirty laundry. Yeah. And also all she wants to do is dance. I think that's
another good one.
Song. Yeah.
That's another good one. Jay White and Wheeler Yuta.
Don Henley Minute here on
repeat everything we said about AR Fox and Ricochet. Even though this match they've been building it for it feels like months. Actually, I'm gonna do something fun here. I'm gonna read exactly what I wrote.
Okay.
This is what I wrote down for this match. Okay.
Okay.
Jay White getting the best of him. Ref arguing with White, which allows Wheeler to briefly get the advantage. Crowd is just dead again. Capitalize the word dead. Goes to break with Wheeler in control. Yuta getting way too much offense in on White. Crowd is so quiet. Didn't even pop for kickouts. 13 people are chanting Switchblade at Jay White. He wins with the Blade Runner. The chant died quickly. 3 stars. That's it. That's all I got. Sorry.
Remember that 2 weeks when Wheeler Yuta had a personality?
That was now nice. He's just cousin it.
Now he's just growing facial hair to be weird and stuff.
Someone in the Discord asked how he can see.
Well, it's the same as Captain Caveman.
What are they talking about here?
What?
Oh, no.
We're having
I'm reading the chats. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it.
Why would we be demonetized?
Because you can't talk about Song of the South.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Can we sing Song of the South by all?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Never.
All right. Did I miss anything on this Jay White Wheeler Yuta match?
No, but then we had the same exact beatdown we had earlier in the show.
Yes. So Jay gave him another another Switchblade. So that was another beatdown. And then the fans chanted one more time. Out comes Mox and Marina. Claudio attacked him from behind. So that's 2 more beatdowns. So this was 4 matches and 6 beatdowns. And rated FTR's music hits.
But hold on. You asked me a question earlier.
Yes.
About Jeff Jarrett.
Yes.
And do you think it was unexpected that the other members of the Death Riders would be around? Your Honor, I'd like to call Jay White to the stand. Same question, sir. You have been a heel most of your career in a stable that plans beatdowns. Was it beyond the realm of your possibilities in your mind that when you turned around to just stare like a dumbass?
Yeah.
While caressing young Wheeler Yuta in your arms and not doing a second or a third.
Objection, Your Honor. My client, Jay White, has no friends.
Overruled.
The old friends that he had are currently driving a car somewhere and working out and listening to 50 Cent, but they're not in the building. And their other friend, Juice Robinson, is trying to find his wife.
Literally the same beatdown they did with Kenny Omega at the start of the show.
Yes.
Same staging, same everything. Yeah, I could not believe this.
But I will point out that as soon as that music hit, the John Moxley and his Dick Riders were out of there. Like, they were not waiting around for the FTR to make the save. Because they're smart.
Yes.
Yes. So they leave. They're hanging out in the crowd. Dax grabs a mic and he says,
hold on. Cope with the congratulatory friendly handshake to Jay White. Hey, buddy.
Jay White, who is slumped in the corner.
He got to meet Adam Copeland.
He's looking like, what have I done to deserve this? That's the look he has on his face. And Dax grabs a mic and he says, "It's a little different now that it's an even fight, isn't it, Death Riders? But I got to admit, I don't hate how you operate. But what I do hate is when you try to end a 67-year-old man's career." And I thought he fucked up because he was talking about Jeff Jarrett because they just beat down Jeff Jarrett. But no, he's talking about Ricky Morton from last week, which I had already forgotten about because how could I possibly remember, given that they never told us he was even there. They beat him down and quickly to the back, except actually it was to the building. And yeah. So, yeah, they mentioned Ricky Morton, but then he says, one of my other favorite wrestlers of all time is right here in the building. One half of the legendary Midnight Express. So in Dennis Condrey's name on Collision, it's going to be FTR versus the Death Riders in a Mid-South street fight. And you expect, normally when a babyface says that and he's all fired up and he gives the heels something, oh my God, the heels, no. John Moxley's actually into this. Like he's like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
We can't get Dennis Condrey 2 seconds of airtime.
Oh God, no.
This actually angered DJ Convoy.
Oh,
he's like those FTR guys act like the Midnight Express, and they say the Rock and Roll Express is their favorite tag team. How dare they?
I actually saw Dennis Condrey today. I was watching an old episode of Mid-South.
Oh, you're watching the birthday cake one?
Yes, with Dennis Condrey with his birthday hat.
Oh, it was ridiculous. It was straight out of Memphis. It was glorious.
Yes.
Here's the problem, and this happened last week too, is that we're making references to the territorial wrestling that was popular almost 40 years ago.
There was at least 30 people in the crowd that knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, and they're probably all with their kids or grandkids or something and went, oh yeah, Mid-South. I recognize that. But yes, it's we're making references that are outside
Did Mid-South
realm
of your Alabama?
Of your average neck beard on what?
I don't even think they promoted in Alabama, did they?
Well, TBS was the superstation at the time.
Yeah, and that was Jim Crockett.
Well, no, not I mean, it was
I mean, they were on there briefly, but like the era he's talking about was when they were on
Louisiana and whatnot.
Yeah, Louisiana, Houston,
Georgia,
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
So, but I mean, not that it matters. Like, I don't
I'll
know
look this up.
Around. John says no.
Okay.
So there you go. And he's from that area. So
he doesn't know everything. It's not my boss.
True. So that was the 6th and I believe final beatdown. I was actually expecting one during the interview, but we didn't get it.
Mid-South Wrestling was a professional wrestling promotion that included parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas, but not Alabama.
Does it actually say not Alabama in there?
This is an AI overview. Put it in there.
Oh, because you asked,
might be wrong.
Alabama. Oh, okay.
It might be wrong, but I'll see if I can find more information.
I love that AI overview thing. Because whenever I have an argument with somebody, I just type it in and then I get my answer. I was having an argument with somebody about whether or not this is such a stupid argument, whether or not people think that Roy Orbison was blind. That was the argument we were having. So I typed in, do people think Roy Orbison was blind? No, people do not think Roy Orbison is blind. So I won the argument because that was what I said.
I actually think some people thought Roy Orbison was blind.
Well, sure. Some people think the earth is flat too. Like
you just gotta totally dismiss my argument. Okay.
No, I don't.
All of a sudden, I'm AJ Styles
but
here.
When you say people think, I take that to mean the majority of people.
Oh no, not the majority, but I thought there was a significant.
I'm sure there's some. No, it's like an urban myth.
Yes.
Anyways,
like
this is how great Dynamite was. We have to do all these non sequiturs to get our 90 minutes in.
Look, this is how I'm entertaining myself right now.
Yeah, that certainly wasn't this show. Oh, I'll just add. This is what I wrote after. So after
this is
Dax
what you get with long, heatless matches too.
After Dax made his challenge, this is what I wrote. Mox doesn't care. Jay White is slumped in the corner. He doesn't matter. I don't think I'm wrong.
You just sit there and bleed, Jay. I got to cut a promo here to get a match for Saturday.
I'm pretty sure that Jay White is challenging for the world title in 2 weeks.
Why isn't it Cope challenging Moxley to the Alabama Street Fight with FTR?
He is, isn't he?
No,
Oh
but
no,
he's not the guy
you're
on
right.
the
You're
mic.
right.
It was all
Yeah.
Dax.
Yeah, it's FTR. No, it's FTR against the Death Riders.
No, but
So,
but nevertheless,
yeah.
what the guy challenging for the title?
Well, we
and
assume.
with the most name recognition, and the guy whose music you played is Cope. Why isn't he getting any mic time whatsoever in this segment?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
You want to talk about the band and how the last remaining member?
So here's where they said they showed the video package from Saturday in Collision with Toni Storm, revealing herself, and then Excalibur says, and I quote, "That was a performance of a lifetime by Toni Storm." Yeah. So Renee Paquette, they pitched to her. She's on the ramp. She says, "Give it up for AEW Women's World Champion Mariah May." And of course, they don't cheer, but whatever. She's a heel. Doesn't matter.
Mel in the chat, can you explain to me Renee's pants tonight?
Oh God.
Thank you. Because I don't want Paul talking about them because he gets creepy about Renee.
I didn't even notice, honestly.
You lie. You've made this a house of lies. Okay, never mind.
I'm not lying.
I don't.
So she says
they were cut like she was wearing chaps almost, but it was like cuts in the thighs, and that's it. And you're just like, all right,
I swear to God, I swear to God,
all right, there we go. Never mind.
So Mariah comes out with her belt. She says, "Well, it's great to be here in Huntsville, but looking around, maybe we should change the first letter to a C."
Outstanding joke.
Yeah,
and it's right there. Yes.
Yeah. Then Renee says, "We have seen the metamorphosis of timeless Toni Storm. You seem visibly shaken, Mariah." Another lie. And then Mariah grabs the mic and basically says that.
That's the most confident promo.
Yeah. She says, "We're doing this." And I got to say something, okay? Most of these people on this show, they do their promos and they're like, blah, 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 and they're up and down in their volume. And like, I'm trying so hard to figure out what they're saying. And I'm trying to transcribe it. I'm pretty sure I got every single word that Mariah said. First take, didn't have to read. Her delivery is freaking incredible.
It was someone who's been trained as an actor.
Yes. She is
it was
great
slow
promo.
And it was, you know what? It's one of those things where when you're first doing scripts and things like that, you think you're talking way too slow. So you speed it up and then it just sounds rushed. She didn't sound rushed at all.
No.
She enunciated every word. She had emotion with it, which can be an issue with people's scripts as well. Yep. This was a fantastic promo, I thought.
So she says, "We're doing this? The return of timeless Toni Storm. Toni Storm is not real." Fans start chanting Toni. She pushes Renee away. She says, "You want to play the role of Toni Storm? Okay. Why don't you play the Toni Storm who gave her heart to a woman who used her for her gold? Why don't you play the Toni Storm whose most memorable moment was bleeding and crying in my house? Why don't you play the Toni Storm who walked out of Wembley Stadium and Japan and Mexico because she couldn't touch me? You can play whatever Toni Storm you like. The ending stays the same. I don't need to role play because when you're this good, you don't change a thing. I am the woman from hell, and I will always be, and I will remind you of this for the rest of your life. Look now and never forget, for this is your AEW Women's World Champion." And she holds up her belt. Oh my God.
Woo.
Yeah. Clear, incredible, and straight to the point. This is the best comment John ever made in a chat.
You know what I really want? So I want Mariah and Mercedes.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think we're getting that.
No.
I want Mariah and Britt.
No comment.
I don't think we're getting Britt.
I don't think we're ever going to see Britt again.
At
least on this show.
This company, yeah.
No.
Collision, maybe.
Collision. You know Thunder Rosa, don't you? Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, this was incredible.
Remember when Collision was the island of the malcontents and we thought that was a good idea?
Oh yeah. Saw somebody
were we wrong?
Somebody suggested that she go to WWE and change her name to CM Pink.
Luckily, Canyon Seaman's not there to call her Chelsea Green. So
yeah. All right. But yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah, this is fantastic. This is one of the best things on the show for me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I really like that swerve thing after the Ricochet match, but I mean, if you know what, this may have been as good or better.
And as a match, I really liked Yuka and Mercedes.
Honestly, this may have been better. You know what, the tiebreaker may be that it's a more important match that this was building up. So, video package on the Guns, so we haven't seen them in a while, and Excalibur actually pointed out, hey, we got a lot of great tag teams here. Here's one that we haven't seen in a while. So it's like, oh, cool. So there's all these voiceovers playing, and oh yeah, we're the new tag team champions. We're the 6-man champs. Ass boy. They show them working out. They show them driving a car. They're listening to 50 Cent. They're training, and then at the very end, there's the Guns Up. So they want us to remember what their catchphrase was.
I like promo videos; those are good.
Yeah.
They should play another one from Megan Bain since she hasn't been shown. But yes,
well, she's probably gonna be in the Royal Rumble on Saturday.
It's my favorite bit of yours.
I actually think she might be in the Royal Rumble on Saturday.
I don't think she signed.
I don't think she's signed. No, I've never seen an All Elite graphic. Mariah told us she doesn't have an All Elite graphic. I really hope she is signed because I don't think AEW.
I really want her in the Royal Rumble just to see AEW fans melt down.
WWE doesn't need her, and AEW actually really does.
Followed by Camille, probably.
Yeah. Well, Camille, I mean, she is under contract, so
yes,
she's in the vortex. Did you catch
Mystery Vortex? Yes.
Did you catch? I was laughing so hard. And then he's like, "Where's Stokely?"
It's like the Phantom Zone in Superman 2.
Where's Stokely? Oh, he's in the vortex. Oh, okay. Where's
that was an interpersonal issue. Dave should know that. But yeah.
I know. Yeah. What he knows and what he's going to report are two different things.
Yeah, but it's been reported everywhere that there was an issue.
True. So then we got a promo for Collision. Sorry. There was a lot of like filler. We got a promo for Collision, so we're gonna get Hook and Samoa Joe against Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. That should be fun.
This again?
Yeah.
Have we not seen this match like 800 times already? Or
I don't think we've ever seen it. I'll be honest with you. Learning Tree versus the Outrunners. We will hear from Timeless Tony Storm. That should be fun. TNT Championship 3-way. Daniel Garcia defending against Kyle O'Reilly and your ROH Pure Champion, Lee Moriarty.
And here's how we got here.
Here's how we got there. I was like, I gotta see this. Update on your question about Renee. She's too tall for capris.
No, capris go up to the ankle. Aren't the capris like clam diggers or whatever?
And Mel says capris are almost normal length for her. So
okay, whatever.
I've never met Mel in person, so I don't know how tall she is.
She's about 4'2".
Oh, okay. There you go.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know how tall Mel is.
She like Riho height?
She's 3 apples high, like Smurfette.
So we did get a video package that did not explain how we got there. And although I mean they have been building Garcia and Kyle O'Reilly.
Let me tell you something, Paul. If there's something I don't want a video package about, it's how we got to a Kyle O'Reilly, Danny Garcia
and Lee Moriarty
3-way.
Well, they had time to fill on this show. I did like 9 people show up for the Dynamite. Like, what happened? Last week we got a bunch of people didn't show up, and actually it turned out it was one person didn't show up last week. It was Samoa Joe. But we had all these video packages, and actually I liked a lot of what they did last week. We had even more filler this week, and as far as I know, there wasn't any like weather in Alabama or anything like that. So I don't know what was going on. But
I'm sorry, I'm still getting over that we're getting a 3-way between 3 of the blandest guys for a title. For your
Daniel Garcia, Mr. Charisma with his
dancing.
Oh, so Mel's actually really tall. 2 meters is like 6'4".
She is not.
Well, just telling you. That's what she says. All right.
No, you're thinking 2 yards. You're thinking 3 feet equals a yard.
No, a meter is 33 inches.
Okay, you know the metric system better than I do.
Oh, wait a minute. No. A meter is God. I can't do this. Sorry.
See, she doesn't even know the math.
All right.
My STEM education is so bad these days.
We got another video package. The Hurt Syndicate. I swear to God, I'm not lying. I completely forgot they won the tag team titles last week.
Did you?
Oh yeah. I watched Collision. It was not mentioned once on the show. And they did not mention it all tonight until they aired this video package. So a lot of stuff happens in AEW in case you haven't noticed. So
who are the AEW 6-man champs or trios champs?
Did they even have their belts tonight? I don't think
so.
No. 5'2". Okay, that's not 2 meters, Mel. I Google it.
Focus.
Over under 250. Way under, dude. Way under.
It's Royal Rumble night. Are you kidding me?
And yeah, no, they're gonna do like 160.
And that Rumble's hot.
They're gonna do like 160 and a 0.03. Mark it down.
160 if they're lucky. Also All-Star Game. The NFL. Nobody
watches that.
More people than Collision are gonna watch that.
Actually, probably more people than Royal Rumble, if we're being honest. Video package for the Hurt Syndicate. It was fine. I skipped it. Maybe that's why I forgot, because I skip everything.
It's fine.
Then we got another video package for Takeshita for some reason. I mean, we like our video packages, but
why didn't they show the Don Callis video again?
It's a good question. Like really awesome. Good question. Yeah. And
we already played it Saturday for 1/8 of our usual viewing audience.
I think they aired this on Saturday too, but I don't know why. Like what? Like why? Like whatever. It was fine. It was a good video package. Showed Takeshita beating a bunch of people, and then they showed another highlight of earlier tonight. Will beating Brian Cage, and the post match. This is where I noticed that Kenny threw a chair at Cage's head. I missed it the first time.
This was interesting, though. Do you see? I remember the argument on Wrestling Observer Radio. I don't want to get into that, but they're doing the recap right before the main event of stuff that went on during the show.
Yeah.
I guess that's good. I mean, I kind of like that. I mean, I kind of like that as professionalism. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's because they're listening to the criticism that, like, let's say you tuned in late. You don't know what happened.
That's true.
This is filling you in. I've got no problem with it. It was so much in a row.
I had no problem with it either, but it was like 4 video packages in a row. I was like, good Lord.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine. It gave me a lot to skip.
Yes.
I watched a lot of basketball game while this was going on. And then they also showed Jarrett losing to Claudio and then getting beat down. Also, when they showed that beatdown of Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, I didn't notice this the first time, but it was Takeshita and Fletcher hit him with double pile drivers, which was kind of cool. Yeah. So yeah, like, it's a good thing they showed this, because I saw stuff I missed the first time. So, I'm glad. And in 2 weeks, it's going to be Ospreay and Omega versus Takeshita and Fletcher. I don't know why.
1 a.m. on TNT, I guess, because we don't have an official time.
No, we did. It was on WrestlingObserver.com. It's a 2-hour collision, and it's going to air after the skills competition. So,
that's right. So it's going to be like 11 o'clock Pacific.
Right, which is almost 24 hours after it was live. Now, what we don't know is if it's simulcast on Max or if it's going to air live on Max and then later in the day on TNT. And I think that might actually be what it is. But if that is what it is, I don't know why they haven't told us yet.
I don't watch Collision, so it doesn't matter.
Well, there you go. But this is like, it's a special Collision, Jeff. It's one they've been building for a long time.
Cool. I'll see. I'll hopefully see a video package on Dynamite.
Okay. You don't watch Collision all the time, and when Rampage was on, you didn't watch Rampage either, right?
Right.
Before this next segment aired, would you have had a clue who the Vendetta were?
Yes.
Okay. Because I don't remember them ever mentioning their name on Dynamite, but they did. So they pitched to an interview with Deanna and Tony. Deanna and Taya.
Yes.
I know it's Taya. I wrote Tony. So Taya's like, come here to the camera. And she says, moments from now, we're going to witness Mercedes Moné defend her title against Yuka. And Deanna says, that could have been me. Would have been me if it wasn't for Harley Cameron. I have no idea what she's talking about, and I watched the match.
Harley came in during Taya came in to try and help Deanna during the 4-way, and Harley Cameron came in to make the save.
Because there's no DQs in the 4-way. So
yes, of course not.
Harley, you're sticking your balloons where they don't belong. So we need to take what we think we deserve. So Harley, you belong to the Vendetta. And Saturday on Collision, we're coming to collect. So like they're gonna kidnap Harley? They're gonna force her to join their group? Not exactly sure what's going on here.
It's a decent enough gimmick. It's basically almost a play on the Hardliners collection agency with Dick Murdoch and Dick Slater, except they're Italian, with those sorts. The thing that ruins it a little bit for me is because I think Deanna's too nice to pull off this thing. So she's also always kind of like laughing a little when she's doing it. She's
supposed to be a mafiosa.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she gets wordy and she starts tripping over her words a little bit when she does it, when it's just like, should have been me, as opposed to a long line. Brevity is the soul. Brevity would serve her here in terms of being intense.
I think if the roles were reversed, it might work better.
That too.
Ty is a better orator.
Yes.
Than Deanna.
Deanna's a better wrestler. Yeah.
Deanna should be the underboss.
The heavy and shockingly taller than Ty, I guess, wearing heels or something like that. That's what shocked me, is that because I always viewed Deanna as being tiny.
Let me clarify. When he says the heavy, he means the muscle. He's not referring to her weight. Okay.
Did that need clarification?
I just want to make sure, because I know you didn't mean that, and I didn't want.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Context.
Jesus.
Okay.
What? No, not going there.
Mercedes Mone and Yuka Sakazaki.
Yes.
Dynamite main event.
The Jeff Hawkins checkbox list. Yeah. This is what, much like me, old Mercedes has a bit of an Asian thing going on. Let's face it.
So I noticed something in this match that I've never noticed before, and either I'm noticing something that doesn't exist, or I noticed something that I should have noticed a long time ago, or it was just a weird coincidence. Yuka Sakazaki does like Tomohiro Ishii's moveset. Have you ever noticed this?
Yes.
I didn't. Like, so she's sitting there, this tiny little woman is doing
smiling, like, growling, stone cold pit bull.
Yes,
Sakazaki.
But with a smile on her face.
He's more of a Hall of Famer too.
She's doing the sheer drop and brainbuster. She's doing the sliding lariat. She's doing the superplex. Yeah, it was freaking amazing.
Although now I want to see Tomohiro Ishii do that like magical girl dance.
I want to see Tomohiro Ishii against Yuka Sakazaki. I think that'd be awesome. There was one spot here where Yuka screwed up a springboard, but we'll be okay with her because she's so cute.
There were two spots there, but that's
then
okay.
Taz says, "Take two, do it again." And then he says, "Good girl, Jones." And then he says, "Correctamundo." And I was like, And then
you don't need to call attention to it. Number one, I thought Excalibur actually did a decent job of saying, "Hey, she's had knee surgery."
Yep.
I mean, Excalibur was trying to save it. Taz was trying to clown her, and that's the difference.
Yeah, and get his shit in.
Yes.
Correctamundo from the 70s and the Fonz. So the crowd was not into this at all, which was too bad because it was a really good match.
This is a really good match.
Yeah, Mercedes is great. Yuka's so much fun. Mercedes gave her a lot.
Gave her a couple of 2.5 counts too, which was nice. Yeah, I mean, you almost bought into it for a second.
She hit her merry-go-round, and Mercedes barely got her shoulder up.
Yes.
And no reaction. I was like, oh man, like that should have got a huge pop. Then Mercedes hit a backstabber, goes into the statement maker. Yuka rolled her up for a pin attempt. She hits a rolling elbow, and then she does the what do they call, like the seatbelt clip for 2. And I wrote down, "This is good." The crowd is so dead. Yuka gave her a German from the second rope, and the crowd woke up at that point. Then she hit her magical girl splash, but Mercedes got her knee up, rolled her up for 2. Yeah. Knee strike by Mercedes, power bomb, and then she hits the moneymaker. She hits the moneymaker, and it was like someone shut off the audio. Like, I've never seen a match finish to less reaction than this. Like, I don't know if they didn't recognize the finisher, if they were expecting something else. There was nothing. Not boos, not cheers, just dead silence. And I felt bad in a way, like, because these women had a great match and nobody cared. Like, it was sad. Like, that's kind of this company in a way.
Yeah, they don't do enough for Mercedes, and she's not doing enough for herself a little bit because she's kind of doing that rock gimmick in terms of, hey, I'm just going to say hello to your CEO, sing along with it, and then cut kind of a disingenuous promo type of a thing, as opposed to like a heat promo about Yuka. I liked that Yuka kind of glommed Mercedes' gimmick of stealing stealing the other person's taunt, and she did the CEO dance. I howled at that. That was fantastic by Yuka Sakazaki. I really like that segment with what's her terrible finisher? Mercedes, the one that she shouldn't be using as opposed to the bank stand.
The one that she finished with. The moneymaker.
Okay, yeah. The moneymaker. Thank you.
Yeah. She tried it once and
the
Yuka
reversal
powered
of
out.
that. Yeah. When she powered out and did the thrust kick. I thought that was an awesome spot. Kind of a thing. I enjoyed this. If Yuka could speak English or get somebody to speak with her, she would be so much money in this division because you have someone who's finally a straight ahead, good, pure babyface type
or
character,
be around for more than 5 weeks a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those things where it's like this was why I really liked Bailey originally. It's just like it's just good to have someone who. We need to give this good person an edge for some reason.
No, like Willow was like that too, and then they decided.
Willow's was always an ironic character, though.
True, yeah, and Yuka actually Riho was kind of like that.
Riho was, but I can't stand Riho, to be honest with you.
It's hard to take her seriously.
Watching her, yeah. The tee stuff, it's like no, I can't. This
is different. Like this is like almost like a Crash Holly in a way, but not that. But like
she's undersized, which helps her a lot too.
But you actually like it's not like an ironic thing. Like you get into it. Like
I want to see her work the crowd more too. Like get up on the turnbuckle. When she has somebody down, do the.
Well, the thing is, we'll do that when the crowd is with her.
Yes.
So I saw a match that she had. It was a New Japan show, and it was a smaller building than this.
Yes, I remember what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's not that long ago. It was the Sumi Sakai retirement thing. She was in that match.
Yeah.
That crowd bought into everything she did.
Yeah, she's great. She really is. And Mercedes, Mercedes was great. I mean, you tell Mercedes was kind of having fun in this match too. I mean,
you know what the thing is, I will say about this show in general. We were chatting. I won't say who you and I were chatting with, but we were chatting with someone before the show, and just a little DM group that we have, and it was like we looked at the lineup and we're like, what are we missing here? Like, there's nothing on this show. And the thing is, these fans, these 2,100 people that bought these tickets to AEW, like you buy a ticket for AEW, you don't really know what you're going to get. So, I mean, they got an Ospreay match. They got a Mercedes match.
They got the ironic Tony Storm.
Yeah. But well, they will because they're taping Collision tonight. Oh God, that crowd is going to be so dead. I hope they like sweeten it or something.
I hadn't realized that last week's show was outside. I didn't realize that.
Saturday, yeah. That crowd was cold, and apparently everyone left. So Ring of Honor is going to be like nobody. I'm interested to see that tomorrow because like everyone left. Nobody stuck around for Ring of Honor. I want to say everyone. I mean, there were obviously some people there, but almost everyone left. So yeah, like I think this crowd, like you don't know what you're gonna get, but I'm sure people go there expecting, oh hey, maybe we're gonna see John Moxley, maybe we're gonna see like whoever else. Like I don't know.
I mean, a lot of these crowds aren't going though for, and they're not even going for like the 4.5-star match necessarily. I think they're going for the big high spot.
Okay, and you didn't really get that today.
You got it kind of. I mean, you got it last week off of the.
Oh yeah.
In the beginning, and that's why the crowd died afterwards. But they're really, I mean, it's not like the Commander type high spot. They're talking the Kenny or Will doing a great high spot, and then that'll be it. But yeah, it's one of those things where like I don't crowd shame because it's one of those things where if you're not given something to cheer, I'm not going to expect that from you.
It's on the company. It's not on
But it's one of those weird things that you're watching. It's like all these crowds are very very quiet. And they're respectful of the art of professional wrestling, all that other crap, whatever.
Like Japan used to be.
Yeah, it's like well, they're becoming a New Japan crowd in many ways, and not the good ways either. It's one of those things where it's like I think they just want some heat, and you got to give them some heat, man.
You remember when and actually I should have mentioned this earlier. I'll mention it now. You remember about a month ago, we went back and watched an old Dynamite. And for people, if you want us to go back and watch an old Dynamite and review it, $25 super chat, we'll do it. Just pick the date, we'll watch it. I actually threw on the Dynamite debut earlier this week, and I watched the first half hour or so. And I was just like I was watching it with my jaw agape. This crowd was, I think they had 14,000 people, and the crowd was going nuts for everything. The match was presented in a way that it was like a sporting event, like a UFC or a boxing match. It was so different than what they're doing now. And I'm just like, I don't know how we got from there to where we are. Oh, but I will say, when I look at the roster, that might give me a clue, because everybody that was there then that's still here now is in the exact same spot they were 5 years ago.
Yes.
And there's been some people added, but they just kind of get slotted in. Oh, Okada, okay, we'll put him here. FTR, yeah, we'll put them there. And then they're just, nobody moves. Nobody goes up or down the card. They just Swerve, I guess, elevated, himself. And, there's some exceptions, but,
we make matches, we do matches. They don't have much of an effect on story, and we don't really do feuds all that well because we just want to book a good match here. I mean,
but if you go back and you watch, and I've done this as well, if you go back and watch Raw or SmackDown from 5 years ago, it's like watching AEW now. Yeah. And I'm not saying like the show is better. What I'm talking about is the crowds.
The crowds.
Yes. The crowds are dead, and they were dead for WWE back then. The script is flipped. Those WWE fans will eat up anything. Like, I shouldn't say that, because you throw Zoe Stark out there, they sit on their hands. But for the most part, like, and sorry, I didn't mean to Zoe Stark to catch any shade, but it's just the first name that popped in my head. Not everything works. That Otis segment was terrible.
She got a huge pop on that drop kick on Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai, yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe next time. Yeah, so we're in a bit of a down spot right now. But
the crowd has figured out the conditioning, as you said. They were looking towards the back after the Mercedes match, and there was nothing.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, like, so yeah, they.
No, you mentioned it on air.
Mentioned the beginning of the show, yeah. But yeah, at the end of the show, and so yeah, when the match was over, Mercedes won. I think we mentioned that. She holds up her belt, and I'm waiting. Like, I didn't think they were going to do a beatdown, but I
was waiting for Willow to come out.
Somebody,
yeah.
Like, so you know what I think? Because she did mention that she's going to be defending in Australia. I don't think it's going to be Harley, but I think it might actually be like Deanna.
I think it's Harley. I think it has to be, because they set it up already.
So, okay. Oh, you know what? I had this
promo last week.
Okay, remember the 4-way?
Yes.
2 people brawled to the back during that 4-way. Do you remember who they were? One was Serena and Amanada.
Yes.
Here's my prediction. Serena and Amanada are going to have a one-on-one match, and the winner of that's going to get Mercedes in Australia.
That'd be dumb, because they're setting up a match with the Vendetta and Harley to get a win.
Yeah, they are.
All right.
I think if it was me, I would give Harley a win in Australia, but not against Mercedes. Like, give her a win.
Already had a match against Mercedes, or am I
so then it'd be Serena.
Yeah. Okay.
Serena and
I like Serena Deeb a lot. I don't think. Okay. I think Harley is the.
I'm really interested in what that crowd's going to be like, because one thing I heard was, okay, they sold something like just under 10,000 tickets when it was supposed to be in a stadium. Then they moved everything to this 10,000 seat building. So you figure, okay, well, all the people that got tickets for the stadium will go to the thing. But apparently there's a lot of tickets out there right now, and they're doing 2-for-1. So I think a lot of people return their tickets. So nobody knows what the attendance is going to be for this show.
I think it's going to be heavily papered.
But will people show up? Because
Australia's on the other side of the country from
Australia's a big country.
Yes.
And not a lot of people live there. But it's like the size of Canada almost. But there's like a big empty space in the middle of the country that nobody lives in. And when I say nobody, very few. And then there's like population centers on either coast. And this is on the other side of Australia from like Melbourne and stuff. Like, it's like a 9-hour flight, I think, or maybe not. 9, maybe like 6. Yeah. And so it's not like, but even this stadium is not exactly close to where they moved the show to. So if you bought tickets for the stadium, it's not going to be that easy to get to the
No,
arena.
look, I'm not worried about this because it's a taped show and they'll have a crowd and they can sweeten it.
I hope it's hot and I hope there's a lot of people there because I'm going to watch it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'll probably watch it eventually.
Try coming back to Detroit. First Blood and Guts was mental. I agree. That was a great crowd. And Mel likes the idea of Serena putting Harley over in her home country. When Harley gets her first win, it should get a huge pop.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, and Serena,
as long as you're not in a third tier city, you're fine.
And if they actually build up some heat, so I don't mind Serena. That'll be a good match. But if it was actually Deonna or Taya and they're like bullying her, and then she overcomes that and gets the pin, I think that's even a better story.
Yeah,
So. But then again, it's a collision. So how many women's matches are they going to have? 2 if we're lucky. Unless, you know what they could do? They'll do like a 4-hour show on Max, and then they'll cut it down to 2 hours for TBS.
Paul, we've gone long. Let's end this.
Okay, let's end it. Thank you, Jeff.
You can follow me at CrapGame13 on X. I'm also on Blueski, Jeff Hawkins. I don't post as much over there. Shake them ropes this week. Depending on when we record, it's either going to be a preview of Royal Rumble or it's going to be a review of Royal Rumble. We're not sure which. Okay, join the surprise. I'll let you know when Chris lets me know when we're going to record. Vader Club this week, Akira Hokuto versus Mako Satomura. If you like watching people slap the crap out of each other and drop people on their heads, this is the match for you. It's awesome. I loved it. And that will drop sometime this week.
I want to plug a show that I watched earlier today. It was really good. It had like 3 matches that are as good as anything you get most weeks on Dynamite, and with some people that you probably even know. So check out House of Glory from, I think it was January 14th. It's on Triller Plus. It's a good show. It featured the return of Ricky Starks, had Matt Cardona on it, had Amazing Red, had a great match with a guy named Charles Mason, who I've never seen before. So, and there's a guy in the opener. God, I can't remember his name. Former MMA fighter. It's like a really weird name, like Vimula Nakuda or something like that. And this guy, I looked up on Cage Match. He's got like 8 matches in his career, and I've never seen anyone that inexperienced as good as this guy. I'm not kidding. Like Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar. Like this guy is great. Kind of small, but really, really good. So check it out. Check out that match. It's the opener on that show. But other than that, check out fightgamemedia.com. I do my top 10 matches of the week, and a couple from House of Glory will probably be on that one next week. So you can check that out, and then come back here next week. Jeff and I will try to make sense of whatever they decide to put on the air on TBS next Wednesday. I feel better about this show after reviewing it, as I always do. So I want to thank Jeff. I want to thank all of you for listening and watching. And thanks for the well wishes from both of us, John. So for Jeff Hawkins, I've been Paul Fontaine, and this has been the Dynamite Show.